Welcome to Comics League Dark. I'm Jared. I'm here with Taladia Plays. What's up, brother?
What a day. What a day, I can
God
say.
damn it, WB. You can't go on without destroying something for 5 minutes. Dang it. So, all right. You want to start with the not so wonderful?
We'll start with the bad news. Let's kick it off with the bad news.
All right, so which one? There's like three bad news articles here.
Okay, so we'll talk about Wonder Woman game in trouble.
All right, let's do this. All right, so the Wonder Woman game is like massively delayed to the point where the way it was communicated is that the game development, like story or something like that, has been rebooted, and this part is particularly concerning. You know that big Nemesis system that everyone was like really excited for? By the way, the way it was going to work in the game is that you were going to be able to like befriend enemies. And by the way, hey buddy,
flame on. How's everybody doing tonight?
Not so wonderful because the Wonder Woman game is massively delayed. And first off, what's up, Tevia, Cameron, and Mac? So the way the Nemesis system is going to work is that you're going to be able to like befriend your enemies, like I guess like in the Lord of the Rings game, and that's in keeping with Wonder Woman. But it sounds like they stripped out the Nemesis system because the way the article sounds like is like it says they're going back to a traditional action game route. So I take it's not even an RPG anymore.
No. At least from what I've heard, that was the case.
Which, God, DC, every time I get excited for something, it's like DC. Actually, you know what? Here's what WB Games did today. They essentially took all of the excitement that we were facing. Where's this? Oh yeah. And this is what they did. You ready? That's WB Games right there. So, and that's not the only thing that got canned. So we'll talk about that some more stuff later. But
and it's gonna have a field day with JJheat. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. So again, and Taladi and I were talking about this before we went live. It's at this point, I am convinced the Wonder Woman game is never releasing. I'm just going to tell you that right there.
You're convinced it's dead.
I'm convinced it's dead because even the articles covering it are like at this point, it's like years down the line if it comes out at all.
If it's going to get marketed at all.
No. If it gets released at all is what they're saying. So even the trades are doubtful this game is going to get released. And I'm like, okay, guys, this is freaking dumb because it's like, this is just part and parcel with like the problem with WB treating Wonder Woman. Right, there's a reason why I'm wearing the Wonder Woman hoodie this week. And yes, Cameron says, honestly, I'm not surprised DC never markets Wonder Woman. The problem with Tevia, that's a bad analogy because because it got announced and got canceled, that's the way you link the Wonder Woman game. Lots of games are announced and canceled and other games released. I don't know why you're linking those two games together. But anyway, so the thing is like, and Cameron point about Wonder Woman not like about not being a priority at DC because she's not, and insiders that I talk to, yes, I have my own insiders, have communicated this. It's to the point where I'm like, then don't make Wonder Woman projects anymore. Sell the character back to Marston. Just be done with it. Because if you're gonna announce stuff, get the fan base all hyped for a Wonder Woman game, and then just cancel it. Just be done with it. You clearly don't care about this character. And here's the thing. It's not like the character is like a part of a flopping film franchise. She's not. Yes, she had like a movie that underperformed, but her first movie was like one of the highest performing DC movies. Why wouldn't you prioritize her? That makes zero sense. Then again, WB is known for making business decisions that don't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, second Warner Brothers.
So what do you think, Taladia? You're the gaming dude.
Okay, so this is what I also know.
And real quick, Tavia,
Okay.
lots of games go through that. I don't think Transformers is, because Wonder Woman is a much larger IP. I mean, Transformers is a much smaller IP than Wonder Woman.
Transformers was a different situation, Tavia, compared to Wonder Woman. A huge difference.
That is true.
Yeah. There's way different. That's apples and oranges. But anyway, go ahead, Taladia.
Okay, so when it comes down to the Wonder Woman game situation, they announced it in 2021, right? What I'm guessing is, right, I think not only the higher ups got involved, but also James Gunn got involved too. Because I know you're not gonna like it, okay?
I don't think.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Claudia, I don't think that James Gunn got involved in this case. I think it was the case of Suicide Squad failed. Gotham Knights didn't perform the way WB wanted it to. So they're just like, let's just pull back on DC games.
I mean, I was gonna also say it was that the higher ups, right? David the Thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Literally was in the article. He is not a gamer. All he wanted to do was get as many games as he wanted out there. In the case of Wonder Woman, he didn't obviously have a clear vision and thought about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was like, okay, because like the Monolith Productions weren't going to do a Wonder Woman game, if you guys know.
They were.
No, it was going to be something else before Wonder Woman. It was going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but WB told them work on a particular IP, whether it's DC, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, whatever, right? So they chose Wonder Woman. So they announced it in 2021, and they never worked on it before. So that's what I'm trying to say is that I just think it's a really struggling move right now of how to comprehend things going forward. If WB are actually gonna continue on with this thing, or they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna pull the plugs whenever see the light of day, any concept art, any assets, stuff like that. You know, and considering Jason Schreier is a reliable source, because he is a reliable, I do believe that this game is rebooted, and I do think that it sucks that they got rid of the Nemesis system. It would have been really, really cool to have the Nemesis system in this, because I think the Nemesis system is WB patent it. Why patent it and not use it if you're not gonna take advantage of it?
So other people won't be able to use it. That's why.
That is true, but I mean,
That's
why
a fair
not
point.
take it? But I mean, in terms of why not take advantage of it in their own studio, in-house studio?
Mm-hmm.
It
It's
doesn't
true. Well, again, this is WB we're talking about. Nothing they do makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and I'm just furious because as I should be, because I literally covered the game. I was excited for the game in 2021. I thought the game would come out this year or next year. Now it's not even looking like it's going to come out at all. So I'll be honest with you, I don't think this game. If push comes to shove, I don't think this game is actually releasing.
Yep, me too. Exactly. There you go. How about you, JJheat?
As for me, yeah, losing the Nemesis system for this game is a bit of a drag, but I'm gonna be optimistic. Maybe the game is just delayed indefinitely. I'm not gonna outright say it's dead because logistically speaking, there's no reason to outright make the game dead. There's nothing actively wrong with the Wonder Woman IP. You already have the Amazon, the Paradise. What's that? DCU Paradise Lost Amazon show.
Yeah, Paradise Lost. Yeah.
Thank you. There's just no reason for that specifically. Again, this could be a cost-cutting measure by the higher-ups, but at least in terms of the Wonder Woman IP, there is no active reason to delay or halt this game.
I think I know the reason. As we know, WB is known to overreact to catastrophes. And what game was an overwhelming catastrophe, Talati. I'll give you a hint. You and I played it.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad was an unmitigated disaster. So WB is probably like saying, okay, let's pull back on all DC games and let's reevaluate what was good. What see, Cameron, I don't think it was a right situation because otherwise they would pull back on the comics and everything else for Wonder Woman.
That's a completely different argument.
So
That a part in it, but I don't think that was like any like influential reason behind why this particular move was taken.
but I'm also going to bring this up.
Yeah.
David Haddad was banking on Suicide Squad and
Aha.
was banking on Suicide Squad and Multiverses to tie them over till they got the Wonder Woman game out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we're not getting the Wonder Woman game now, because he thought, oh, well, at least we got Multiverses and we got Suicide Squad out. We're gonna get a lot of content for that game. We would have had X, Y, and Z. It
Got
doesn't
the
work
money.
in, and the fact is, it's like, okay,
Actually, Taladia, you brought up a good point. You know what's funny? Didn't the developers make a big statement that Wonder Woman is not a live service game?
yes,
And I think it could be that like WB wanted to make it a live service game, but the studio says we can't do it as it stands now. So it could be the reboot is to make it a live service game.
could be,
Which
Could be.
I'm like, stop with the it's like, stop making live service happen. It's not gonna work.
I mean, only
Yeah, go ahead.
only time will tell though what the situation will entail for the Wonder Woman game. Like if it's gonna keep on going ahead, or if it's gonna get cancelled like midway through development.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the future, right? At all. We like it's like we don't have a mystic ball, right? That's the
I wish
best
we
way to put
did.
it. But I'll leave it at this, right? As the gaming lord.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, please restore the Snyderverse.
I'll leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll leave it at this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way things are looking for Wonder Woman, it's not looking brilliant, and it's definitely concerning for fans, and it's definitely concerning for the developers because the developers are the ones suffering right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're listening to the higher ups, and the higher ups don't know, don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's a sad situation because there was a lot of excitement for this Wonder Woman game, and this could have really done a lot to like help her like character and IP gain like cachet. But no, WB just has to WB. But anyway, so then we got some more news of games that were in development or at least pitched and didn't go through. So we're going to start with, so there was a Flash game in development, but it got canceled because the movie bombed. That was the cited reason by the I think it was the Hollywood Reporter reason. Yes, there was yes, Cameron, we were getting a Flash game. But because the movie bombed, WB was probably like, stop everything with the Flash. We can't do the Flash. The character's dead. Do a different thing with do a different game. And then a Constantine game was pitched, but it was rejected. Which I'm sure makes I'm sure it makes JJheat upset because he could have voice acted the characters. Yes, I know. We all wanted a Flash game, but well, it's not necessarily for synergy, Cameron. It's just that the WB thought that the IP was, for the moment, irrevocably. Apparently, the way the IP works, the way WB manages the IP, this is why they suck at managing IP, is that they think that just because an IP has one failure, the IP is like with Wonder Woman. Or in The Flash, it's even worse because we have a 10-year show that everyone loves. I'm pretty sure a movie bombing is not going to overshadow the decades worth of positive opinions about the Flash coming from that show. I'm like, are you guys idiots? The answer is yes. Anyway, what do you think about this, Taladia? How many times have we been calling for a Flash game?
We've been calling for a Flash game for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not Superman, we've been saying, look, give us a Flash game at least, because we've been saying, give us a Flash game. You know, we've been asking for it. And the thing is, like, WB are incapable of just actually listening to the fans,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the thing is, people would have upped up the Flash game no matter what, no matter whether the movie bombed or not, right?
Yeah, because the people see it and they're like, oh, a DC game about Batman. I'll try that out.
They'll try it out, yeah, because it's not. Yes, it's not their top dog as they call it, right?
But it would have been
In
an
terms of
original
IPs.
idea because I've been doing YouTube for like ever since 2020. Practically every time DC games are brought up, it's brought up in the context of, can we get DC games about characters other than Superman, other than Batman? That's it. That's all we want.
But you know what's also worse is the fact that people within the company, within the studio, were going to make a Gotham Knights 2.1, sorry, 1.5, right? Including the Flash game, right? They were like, they were going to do a Gotham Knights 1.5, fix some patches or whatever. And I'm just like, okay. But I think what's also was damaging to the Flash, not only because of the movie, but I think it was also to do with the video game. They knew something wasn't gonna be all right because they canceled it last year, correct? At the end of last year was a big.
I think so. Well, if they cancel it because of the Flash movie bombing, it wouldn't have been last year because the Flash movie didn't come out last year. It would have to be 2023.
Right. Okay.
If you're factoring pre and production on games, it takes roughly 2 to 3 years. Though this could be a situation where the production team saw the writing on the wall. Yeah, even if you are trying to reboot Snyder stuff, this movie's gonna bomb.
Well, Tevia, Suicide Squad has nothing to do with that because it wouldn't have been Rocksteady making the game.
This was going to be WB Games Montreal that was going to make Suicide.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be Rocksteady. So even like with that wouldn't have played any part in that.
So here's what I also take into this to take I can't even talk. Take this into consideration,
please.
I also said there would have been loads of skins we would have had, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if we got the DCEU skins for Flash, all the CW suits, obviously, and a bunch from the comics. I'm 100% sure it would have been that.
But what's also damaging is the studio. Now the studio apparently is pitching, pitching a what's it called, Game of Thrones game, and I'm just like, why pitch a Game of Thrones game? Nobody's gonna really pick that up.
They're going after the IP, because WB's biggest like IPs, one of which is DC. But the thing is that because of like the rough year DC had, both in terms of movies and in terms of games, it could be they're like, okay, what are our other big IPs? Okay, Game of Thrones. Can we do a game for that? Yeah. And Kirby, I got news for you, bro. We're not getting a Superman game anytime soon. We're just not.
I don't see it.
Because particularly again, because Suicide Squad was the risk, and then it didn't work out. So they're like, okay, go back to making Batman games. That's it. We're just making Batman games.
But what I want to hear from JJheat, though. I want to hear JJheat's point of view.
Yeah,
about
the go ahead, JJheat.
Okay, Batman being the cash cow of the Warner Brothers IP, that's always going to be a thing. That's always going to be their bread and butter. It's the safest option, especially with the superhero trend. No one's refuting that. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Even if Warner Brothers is notorious for pushing the panic button on a drop of the hat, there are still other factors to consider other than media reaction alone. Some of these projects are like 2, 3, sometimes even 4 years in development before they even get an announcement teaser.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad for the developers. Don't get me wrong. The reason I'll go ahead and say this now. The reason I think I always thought Suicide Squad SSJKL was going to be bad, not because of anything with like the story as basic and bland as it was, but more so the circumstances surrounding it, the whole Fortnite and basically the current trends in gaming we have right now and how things are shifting. But there were other factors than just what's the next big thing. There were other factors in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I were to argue, SSJKL came out 7 years too late. This was right off the heel of the 2016 version, or even what Injustice 2 did for the or even no wait, that still was 2016. But you get what I'm saying with the Suicide Squad in 2020. If SSJKL came out around that time, other than the Arkham diehards, because they're important too, other than the Arkham diehards, in that context, it wouldn't have been nowhere near as egregious.
I mean, you still would have had people saying they disrespected Batman in the judge, but yeah, it wouldn't have been necessarily that big. Movie theater should they make more games like the ones for Switch or the Lego games? Lego games, I think, are a good option because they don't require that much stuff. Honestly, I would take a Lego Wonder Woman game at this point. Just make that. Give me something.
Have we ever gotten a Wonder Woman game outside of ensembles with the Justice League?
Nope.
That's what
makes this so bad, JHeat.
But what JHeat, what do you think about the whole Constantine pitch?
And
because I want to hear your thoughts on that. Because honestly, for me, I just think I'm surprised they pitched a Constantine game, because I would have thought they would have gone for more popular IPs. Not
well, you know what it probably is. You know how they're like supposedly working on a Constantine 2 movie. They were probably trying to pitch that comes out around the time as Constantine 2, if that comes out
for synergy purposes. That's likely the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
But hey,
yes, if
Warner Brothers reached out, sent me a paycheck to do a voiceover, I'd be happy to do it.
Oh hell yes, I would so do that too. Justice League Cosmic Chaos was a good game for DC. It should make more, but better. Yeah, that game was fun. I'm streaming it right now, but it's not bad. Imagine honestly a Sonic Frontier like Flash with toggle speed would be hype. Yeah, but again, you got to get DC to do it. So Batman sells until it doesn't. Yeah, that's true. That is the bit that is an issue. It's like that's an issue that I think DC is gonna run into if they don't do this carefully. Because honestly, I feel like we're almost at the point when we start getting into Batflation territory. And then if you get to and then if you inflate Batman, what else does DC have?
The problem is Warner Brothers saw the dollar sign as soon as they saw Batman sell. That's the problem. They don't realize that, you've got Superman, you've got Wonder Woman, on the cards. You've also got Justice League. Like seriously, Warner Brothers, right? Mm-hmm. I get the fact that one game flopped, but that's on you. That's not on the consumers. That's on you, because the fact is you wanted to live chase trends. Chase trending is not a good thing, right? If
not from a business standpoint, it is not a good business.
It's not a good business move, right? And this is coming from the guy that knows a lot about gaming, right? Mm-hmm. Even Greg Miller was saying this on Kind of Funny Games Daily. Even if you don't chase trends, it's still a good thing. You can still make a lot of money from it, right? And case in point, Marvel Spider-Man. I didn't chase any trends. They didn't do a live service game.
No.
Look what happened. It turned out great, right? And I truly believe that whatever the one thing that Marvel has won up over on DC is because they're just giving out the IPs and letting the studio decide whatever they want.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to bring this up, and Tavia, I'm going to respond to you on this, because Tavia says it's kind of sad that WB won't let other characters get the shot. Here's why. For the amount of Tavia, Taladia. Sorry, I'm tired. How much money on average do AAA studios spend on like a game, particularly one for like a big IP of this?
So next generation, 4 to 6 years.
No, cash.
Oh, cash. It
depends on what type of budget we're talking about.
Let's say 200. Let's say, give me a number.
Okay. Low bowling, I would say about, let's just say 300,000 for the sake of it. I know that's a very massive low ball, but let's just argue that.
Okay, 300,000. Here's why. If you're going to put 300,000 into a game, you're going to go with the IPs that are the guaranteed you're going to get this back. Characters that are less of a risk. Spider-Man and Batman are literally the most famous superheroes of all time. Yeah, you're going to go with Spider-Man and Batman because they're less of a monetary risk than, honestly, Superman or Wonder Woman. And Cameron, which character did they use for DC Telltale?
They did Batman.
Yep, they did Batman.
Dead.
And Wolf Among Us.
Well, I forgot they did Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, but the point is with that. But it's like that. That's why we don't get Constantine games or Wonder Woman games. And that's the thing. Sam Liu said this thing when I had him on the show for a Q&A. He said fans ask for a blank animated movie with, like, let's say what's up, silly girl? You would have like a movie on like an animated Constantine movie or an animated Zatanna movie, but then those movies don't do well. Here's the thing. It's like we keep approaching this like we're fans, and we have to approach this also like we're business people. Because when we approach it like business people, it does make little more sense as to why they like canceled the Flash game. But with Wonder Woman, there is no excuse. Wonder Woman is supposedly your most iconic female superhero, and you keep like not prioritizing her or giving her the time of day that she deserves. What are you doing? You wonder why everyone thinks you're a joke of a studio. What do you guys think of that?
At least this is just my personal opinion. Now, say what you will about not Blue Baby Inc. Thank you, that consulting company. But you have a lot of young creators nowadays. We're in a generational shift of new creators who have their own personal biases, social media engagement, what have you. But they're still green, fresh out of art school. They don't have the same craft as someone like we were experiencing, the games we had like in the 2000s, in the early
like Halo.
2000s. Halo, case example. That's a completely different generations of creators and creators and developers who knew their craft and knew how to compel and engaging experience with the technology that they had. These are a lot of young folks who are very full of themselves and debatably have personal bias in their algorithms with social media of their choice. There's still a learning curve there, including humility. So don't put all your eggs in one basket in terms of investment because you never really know what you're going to get. With that being said, from a production standpoint, Batman, Spider-Man, and maybe a Superman game, if you can get around the technical errors that were resolved from that, those are your ideal IPs purely from a marketing and successful standpoint. All well established, all low risk. Superman might have the biggest risk of the three, but that's largely due to the technological disadvantages that I mentioned before. If Superman 06 is anything to go by.
Mm-hmm. I still say the Superman Returns game was pretty decent. But
it was decent, but I mean the synergy with the movie, it was an IP PR nightmare.
Yeah, that's true. But all right, so let's move on to another topic. So we do know again that like Rocksteady is making another Batman game again. Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that this is going to take place after Suicide Squad, or is it in the Arkham Origins-y time?
Go ahead, Talai. I'll let you go first.
It's hard to say, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It's really, really hard to say because...
Actually, here's the other thing. Here's what explains why... by the way, Cameron, making a Justice League Dark game makes sense to us, but here's the problem. To the general audience, they don't know what the Justice League Dark is. They probably just think it's like the Justice League. So if you have like a team that has Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, Black Orchid, or so forth, they're gonna be like, who the hell are these people, and not pick up the game. But anyway, going to the Arkham game, to Batman Arkham. Here's another reason why it explains why they're going to Batman. What came out that was very successful and a Batman game? I'll give you a hint. It was a Shadow.
Batman Arkham Shadow, obviously VR.
It came out, and that was like the only DC game that came out that was like an overwhelming success. So there you go. That's what you need. Yes, I understand it would do well, and it depends on how it's done. I'm not going to say it would guarantee to make a lot of money. It maybe wouldn't. They are definitely rebooting if they want their money back. I've always said that they should at least do one game after Suicide Squad, so that, because here's the problem: if they leave it as Suicide Squad being the last game in the Arkham verse, then you know where it leads to, and that instantly puts a pall over any Arkham universe project that you have that takes place before that. If you do it at the end, if you make it at the end and you make a good game, then Suicide Squad just becomes a bump in the road instead of the brick wall that you run into.
That is a fair point, but it's like Star Wars with the sequel trilogy. The IP itself has taken a major hit, and you would need to have a solid title to make a comeback from something like that. But that is a fair point. I will concede.
Yeah, it is a fair point, and I don't know what direction they're gonna go in. I'm not gonna. It could be a sequel to Arkham Shadow with Roger Craig Smith, or they could do they could not acknowledge Suicide Squad and just continue on from Arkham Knight. They could do either way.
They're not going to decanonize Suicide Squad, though.
Yeah, but it's up to Warner Brothers the way they handle it. It's not in our hands because we're not the what's the word, tech guys. That's the best way to put it. We're not the tech guys for it.
Yeah.
So it's up to them to see what they want.
I'm still praying that it's the Batman Beyond game they canceled. Not likely, but I would love a Batman Beyond game because I think it would still do well because it's still a Batman game. People would show up just for the fact that it's a Batman game.
Didn't they try to commission Arkham Beyond a few years ago and just about everyone rejected it?
It wasn't an Arkham Beyond game. It was not even going to be that. It was going to be a Damian Wayne game that was set in the future, and what's his name? Josh Keaton was going to be the voice of Damian.
So post Arkham Knight, but with a grown
not even post Arkham Knight. This was an Elseworld thing.
Oh, this was a standalone game.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was a standalone game. This was a standalone game that was not connected. And you know what? If that's the case, why not just retool that into a thing? But they're not clever enough to do that.
Nope, exactly. And then Max says they'll probably do Absolute Batman since Arkham Batman ended the Arkhamverse. No, it didn't. Arkham Knight did not end the Arkhamverse. That's the thing. We cannot because here's the thing. We can pretend that like Suicide Squad didn't happen, but guess what? It did. That's the thing. This is my, because when you just say, "Oh, that didn't happen in my canon," I understand that, but I understand that's like our way of like making it so like Suicide Squad is not like this big pull over the entire Arkhamverse, but it did happen. You can't like say that Arkham Knight ended the Arkhamverse. That's still in the Suicide Squad is still explicitly according to Rocksteady in the Arkhamverse.
Yeah, you could go the head canon argument, but it's not going to affect the official release in any way.
Yeah, you need to go by official stuff. We have to detach a little bit from the emotions of this and think about this logically, because logically they need to all of Batman's villains were I'm referring to Batman story, not Justice League. No, you said the story of the Arkhamverse. And they can't do Absolute Batman yet since that's still so new. You don't even know if the Absolute Universe is going to last how long it takes to make a Batman game.
I mean, because it's Batman, you can get away with like a standalone cash grab project, but there's no guarantee it'll be good.
Likely it would be a mobile game then.
Yeah, that would be the safest way to go about it, rather than
a console release game. You saw how long it took for Suicide Squad to come out, and even beyond that, Arkham City Tonight. For all we know, the Absolute Universe may not last another year because there's going to be a crossover and possibly Crisis.
I'm not going to say it's going to get Crisis out. I mean, at least
not necessarily Crisis out, but there may not be Absolute Batman regular books coming out.
That's fair.
Yeah, because it's too much of a cash grab for them to just eliminate it from continuity. There's no way they're going to get rid of the Absolute Universe. So I'm just saying is that they may not visit it. And Matt, Batman's story didn't end either because Batman's in Suicide Squad, kill the Justice League. That's that's the point we're trying to say.
We might as well talk about it because although, Jared, I will throw props, you did call this.
It's
not because of the patch and the updates why they chickened out and revealed the clones.
That was the plan throughout the entire game.
I just feel like Taladia crashed. But where was I? Oh, yes. I just feel like personally, this wasn't going to be enough to milk 2 or 3 years worth of patch and updates. This game crashed and burned almost immediately. You had the poor timing that was Kevin Conroy's tragic passing. Then you had the nostalgia factor because you tried to tie this to the Arkhamverse instead of keeping it standalone. And this game was in developmental hell for 7 years. From a logistics standpoint, it was a fool's errand trying to salvage this game. At least what we got.
Oh, try like they will. Try like they will. That is WB. By the way, honestly, just doing another early years game. That can work, but and Cameron, yes, do that too. I'm saying eventually do a game after. You don't even have to do a series of games. Just do one game. That's all you got to do. Just one game because, again, it minimizes the negative impact that Suicide Squad had on the Arkhamverse. And Taladia's back.
Yeah, sorry.
I would say the Disney trilogy is in a similar situation as well. Because other than The Last Jedi, that's egregiously bad, and Rise of Skywalker that was relied too much on nostalgia, the only good one in the Disney era, not counting Force Awakens, because that's just a reskin of New Hope, was Rogue One, and that was a tragedy. That was a tragedy tale leading to them.
Hang on, Andor was also good.
Nobody watched it. I still got to look at this logistically.
Mandalorian was pretty decent.
Up until season 3, but that's a separate conversation.
Ahsoka was pretty good.
One good fan service episode.
No. The rest of that show is actually pretty dope. The only Disney show that objectively was toilet water was The Acolyte.
I'm still surprised you watched that, Hot Garbahe.
I was bored. And was interested in Garbahe.
But there's so many other things to watch, though.
I had watched all the other stuff already, and I was like, "Oh crap! That's all that's left." No, but that's just the way it's got to be, guys. It's weird, but anyway. So let's move on to another topic. So next we have, let's talk. Oh yeah, Skeleton Crew is also fun. I enjoyed that. The Fantastic Four trailer. Let's go to a little positivity. So we got the Fantastic Four trailer, and I'm going to tell you this. The Thing looks pretty good.
Yeah, surprising me as a DC fan. I'm not a big Marvel fan, as you know, Jared, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
So surprised me the most.
Yeah, the thing about it, that what I think they're doing, which I think is drastically helping them, is I think what they're doing is they're using like practice, because you remember the set photos came out where there was a dude in a practical thing suit.
Yeah.
What I think
Yeah.
they're doing is they are using a practical suit but enhancing it with CGI. Like probably the moving his talking and moving of his mouth, but it's an actual dude in a thing suit.
Yeah, I definitely felt it more practical because the early Fox films were mostly CGI for the most part.
Yeah. And it's like it's the same reason why the Blue Beetle suit was so good, because with the Blue Beetle suit, again, it's a practical suit that they use CGI to enhance. That's the way you do CGI. Because here's the problem. When they got a little too reliant on Iron Man to being CGI to the point where literally it was just they detached Robert Downey Jr.'s head and just put it on a CG model, and it looked good, but still I was like, what? But anyway, no Doctor Doom. Yes, it's not. Well, it's connected to the MCU because it's in the multiverse. But I get what you're saying. And Tevia says, I agree. It was fun. Okay. But plus a bonus to seeing Galactus. Yes, Galactus being not a yes, thank you, Cameron. Galactus being not a clown. He's an actual dude now.
Technological limitations at the time, I still say Silver Surfer should
You could have done a giant dude.
He's big. He's got a big head now.
Time travel.
You've been waiting on that one, haven't you?
I have that in my deck for like a long time, and I barely use it, so I gotta put in rotation. But yeah, I'm like, it's an actual guy and not a space cloud.
What a fuck cloud.
What fart cloud? That's Warner Brothers farts, ladies and gentlemen. That's what that leads to. It destroys universes, ladies and gents. But so let's see what else. So we got that. Everything else looked good. I liked the 1960s retro look of the movie, the vibe of it. Literally the only thing I have not necessarily a real problem with, it's the casting of Reed of
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, of Pascal as Reed. But then again, it's not a horrible casting like everyone in the Fantastic movie. So it's not offensive. You know, let me put it this way. I'll still watch it and I'll be like, okay, it's Reed. I'm fine with that. I knew that like John Krasinski was just a stunt cast for the sake of the movie. I never thought they were going to actually make him Reed.
Still, if they did, it would have been great casting.
It would have been cool, but I was like, okay, that's fine. Plus, he did look like the comics Reed at the time because Reed had a nice beard. He was a beard bro, Taladia. But all in all, it looks pretty good. I liked how like Sue's like force field powers have that sort of iridescent look to them. So it's very much again like the 60s. Johnny looks great. I've talked about how the Thing looks great, but we'll go to JJheat first. What did you think of the Fantastic Four trailer?
As for me, I pretty much liked it for the most part. And Cameron, I'm well aware I'm not excusing anything. I was just providing context. But even then, I like the trailer. But this is the first real attempt of Marvel, the Fantastic Four being Marvel's first family, rather than just another run-of-the-mill superhero team. So it's not going to be as bad as, say, Superman Returns 06, for example, but there's definitely going to be a bit of a generational clash in the market, at least to a degree, compared to the MCU fans and those who remember Fox and God forbid, any Fantastic fans, because there's so little of them. But needless to say, there's going to be a generational clash, at least.
Why did you say that name?
Thank you for letting me finish my thought, Jared.
I got
But needless to say, I'm optimistic. I'm confident based off the teaser, but I have been burned before, so I'm more cautious than anything.
Yeah, that's true. And we have live footage of Pedro Pascal when he heard that the role for Reed was up.
You have something I want. You may think you have some idea what you are in possession of, but you do not.
I had to. That was set up so well. Taladia, what did you think of the trailer?
I'll be brutally honest with you. I really love the trailer. As it,
Mhm.
it surprised me, took me away. I really enjoyed the thing. Johnny Storm, and the thing were the two characters that sold it for me,
Mhm.
right? And there's more depth to this than people realize, because in the trailer, it's not the first time they're going into space, but this time they're going the second time, apparently. So
Yeah. The first, what I think probably is happening is the world is dying and they need to go into space to like find a fuel and stuff. And the first time they go into space is when they get their powers, and maybe that like makes Galactus aware of their Earth, so he goes to their planet. And then like what I think the movie ends, because the movie obviously ends with the Fantastic Four ending up in the regular Marvel universe. I think that what maybe happens is Galactus actually eats their world and they end up stranded on the main Earth.
Possibly.
yeah,
Possibly.
So we'll actually see that. That'd be kind of cool. But so what did you guys in the chat think of the trailer? While we do that, we'll transition to our final topic of the night, going to Marvel. A transition, please. Let me see. What's a good Marvel themed one? I need more Marvel ones. You know what? Screw it.
Oh,
I'll
you
reuse
need
this
that
one. What? Go ahead.
you need that Fantastic Four switch from the '90s show.
I do. I'm just gonna use this one.
Time travel.
So Rob Liefeld is done with Marvel. So here's the thing. Here's what he said here. So it's in relation to how he was treated for Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, so here's the problem. Is like, and this is a problem with the MCU. They have an issue with crediting their creators and properly compensating them. Like even Ed Brubaker said this about like Falcon the Winter Soldier, because he wrote the Winter Soldier and he created the version of Bucky Barnes that was the Winter Soldier. That's kind of his character, and you don't pay him enough. But even with this, it wasn't just that. He said like he got snubbed from he got snubbed at the premiere. He had to call Marvel and he had to petition the studio to put Deadpool, created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza. So he had to ask to be credited as Deadpool's creator, which I don't think he should have to ask. And accordingly, what he said is that Kevin Feige treats the comic creators really badly.
It took him a decade, but he finally let the success and hype go to his head.
Mm-hmm. Which, yeah, and that's just the MCU for you. But it's really it's sad, because you know what? Of all the characters to piss off, of all the creators to piss off, the guy that created the character that is your cash cow this year, that's not a good move. That's the clip I need. I need the Iron Man not a great plan thing. That's the clip I need. But what do you think, JJheat?
As for me, I'm kind of mixed. Now, Rob Liefeld's had some good runs. He's had some bad runs. But given everything that happened with Deadpool and Wolverine, I would not be surprised he decided to walk away. I am not surprised in the slightest. He's one of the last good creators out there. I hate to see him go, and I hope he finds new and better opportunities. But
rumor is he's going to DC.
That could either be really good or really, really bad.
We'll just see all the characters with really, really tiny ankles.
Or extreme. I'm sorry, I've been holding in
what they need to do. Can we get Rob Liefeld to write Deathstroke?
No.
Please.
Why?
Please.
Anyone you could have picked.
Please. Just please. Well, as such, these creators keep getting screwed over. Yeah, exactly. This is the same man that forbid anyone from reading comics, so not surprised. Yeah, exactly, with Kevin Feige. Because again, and I stress this, it's considered a red flag. If you apply to work at Marvel Studios, it is a red flag to be a fan of the comics. Yes, I kid you not. It is a red flag when you apply to work at Marvel Studios, to be a fan of the comic books.
I got no words.
Yes, that makes less. I'm sorry, but even DC wouldn't do that. I'm like, yes, there is no DC game in development at all, but we've kind of moved on from that topic. But but honestly, here's the thing: I don't even think DC would be that stupid to do that. And to say what you want again about James Gunn, at least he is taking very good care of the comic creators. Like, he even flew them out to see the Superman movie. And again, you guys all know I have my issues with James Gunn, but I do like that he at least takes the time and effort to credit the creators and credit their individual stories so they can get like the credit they deserve. So even if I don't like some of the decisions he's making as a CEO, I can at least acknowledge he's doing that right. So you know what, James? You're already proving my point that DC is better than Marvel. But anyway, so what do you guys think about that?
Like I said with Rob Liefeld, personally, I wouldn't want him on Deathstroke, but I can see the appeal for better for worse. As long as they don't turn Slade into a quipping machine, that's all I ask.
They're not going to do that. But my point is, it's like, honestly, again, at that point, I'm like, I would rather these guys work at the creators that work in a way that makes that compensates them properly, because it is criminal abused comic creators are, particularly the ones that create the stuff that goes into like the movies. Like, I'm sorry, if they're writing the characters and the stories that are making you billions of dollars, the least you could do is take care of them, and you're not doing that. It disgusts me, honestly. It really does. It is really disgusting. You shouldn't have like creators like Greg, like you shouldn't have creators going destitute, particularly ones that made Marvel movies and stuff. It's like, even again, Ed Brubaker, when Falcon and the Winter Soldier came out, he was talking about how when the Winter Soldier came out, Marvel barely paid him anything for even though he wrote the story it's based on, and again created the Winter Soldier. To clarify, he didn't make Bucky Barnes. He just made that identity, if you will. So what are you guys doing? Plus, half the stuff that they did for Cap is basically the Ed Brubaker run. Ed Brubaker mixed with a lot of Ultimate Cap. But still, it's like, this is how you treat these creatives. You are shameful. What do you guys think?
I agree, because at the end of the day, even if it is just content farming, there are still people who actually work for little to nothing on a consistent schedule to meet deadlines and keep the larger company afloat.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely see, at least some type of royalty agreement should be included, at least to a degree. That's at least what I believe in a situation.
It should be a minimum.
Bare minimum.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like one of those. It shouldn't be a question of if you're going to credit them. It shouldn't. Let me put it this way: Rob Liefeld should not have to reach out and ask, "Can you put in the credits Deadpool created by Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza?" And that's the other thing. Say what you will about Rob, he made sure that Fabian was also credited as the co-creator of Deadpool. He could have just said, just put Rob Liefeld, like a certain Batman creator we all know of. By a question, did the same thing happen to Jim Starlin too? I don't remember either. I don't even think I asked Starlin about that when I saw him at a SuperCon. But my point is, it's like, it's common enough that even if Starlin was taken care of, most of the other creators at they cite were not. And again, at least Gunn is taking care of the people. And now we'll see how in terms of compensation that leads to. But at least he's like crediting them and like helping giving them a boost. So I'll give them that. I'll give him that. But let's go to a Q&A before we wrap up. You guys can ask us anything about this week's news, any questions that you had in terms of comics, movies, games. Brady Wells, the $5 super chat. Thank you, by the way. Come up with a super villain name so bad it'll probably get you murdered. Yeah. But anyway, so what's another question that you guys have, by the way? Give me another
Anything
good
you can ask
question.
us.
Anything.
Yep, anything you can ask us.
Okay, that one we cannot directly acknowledge out loud, but I appreciate the shout out, Brady.
I appreciate the shout out, Brady, but I can't read particularly that last part.
Though I do appreciate the pun. Not a bad one. I do appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But so it could be any question about comic books, movies, TV shows, Wonder Woman, Superman, whatever you guys would like to know the answer to, any burning questions that you guys had regarding even YouTube, even want tips on YouTube channel management, let me know. Gaming, Taladia's here. Anime, JJheat's here. You nerd.
Hey, no slandering anime guys. Okay, I'm an anime guy too.
All right. But so what else? So what other questions do you guys have in terms of like any of those topics? By the way, so let me ask you guys this real quick while the chat types out the questions.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited for Captain America 4?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not actually.
All right, JJheat, how about you? JJheat, you are muted, good sir. Okay, you know what? While he's doing that, question: any new anime you guys are watching? I'm not watching any new anime, but
I am.
I will say, watch the Terminator anime. What anime are you watching, Taladia?
Red Ranger in a New World, Adventure in a New World. That's a good one.
Is that the Power Rangers one?
Yeah, just recently released.
Okay, I figured because it said Red Ranger, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing there.
Yeah, I checked it.
Can you guys answer my question? I did answer your question, Blazing. I did answer your question. It was earlier in the stream. So if you want that question answered, rewind in the stream. Okay, you know what? Fine. The answer is there is no Superman game in active development right now. No, the answer is no. As far as we know, no.
As far as I know as well, no, because I reached out to my contact and he's blanking me for some reason. So I don't know.
So
but don't take it as facts though that I did say. I said it was a rumor in my video. So should have. I did say it was a rumored video. It wasn't a fact video.
Yeah, we never said we never said it's 100% certain there is a Superman game in active development. We never said that. But yeah. So by the way, JJheat, if you're back, what new anime are you consuming?
I have watched Dan to Dan. I'm interested in it. Of course, Daima. We did have some scheduling complaints, but I can confirm episodes 4 and 5 will be this Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, maybe 7 if depending on how late I get off work. But hopefully everything will go well on that. Also, like Dan Daima. Also, that Red Ranger Sentai Isekai anime. I have seen the first episode, but whether I'm going to make a review of it, I haven't decided yet.
Right. Cameron says they put Red Hulk in the leader in the Captain America movie. My friends have been complaining that that my Hulk obsession should be stopped. No obsession should be stopped, Cameron. If that were true, then my obsession with hating on Lois Lane should be stopped, and that should never be stopped because that's a community service at this point.
You know what? Why I'm not hyped about the Captain America 4 movie?
Why?
I just think that they're putting too much things into it.
What do you mean too many things?
So you've got Red Hulk,
Mhm.
right? You've got, I don't know who the villain is.
Probably probably honestly Red Hulk or the leader. Well, actually, you know who it is? It's Giancarlo Esposito is the villain.
Yeah, and it's confusing me because
It's an original character from what I know. It's not a comic book character.
right, okay, that's why I'm getting.
That's probably why. Exactly. I'm like, who? Even I was like, Delaney, and I've read a fair amount of Captain America comics. I'm like, who the hell are you?
Yeah, it's very confusing. Sorry if I'm confused.
No. Absolutely. It's a lot of comics are confusing, my brother. I'm just gonna tell you that right there. But so see, I'm looking through my streaming history to see what type of shows I've been watching recently that are of note that I've been enjoying. Harley Quinn, I've been enjoying actually the new season. I obviously skipped Kite Man, but all right, I still think they'll use the Nemesis. Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like in the article that talks about the reboot, they said that they're pivoting from like they brought up the Nemesis system was going to be you could befriend enemies, but they're pivoting toward more of an action RPG. I mean, a straight up classic action game and going more linear. So that tells to me that either they're significantly stripping it or they're just eliminating that concept entirely. It could be just story wise. And Jay, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying from the information provided, that's at least until how I'm interpreting it. Been watching you guys for a while. You all are wonderful, and you make great content. Great. Thank you, Blazing. Thank you, Blazing. We try our best. It's a trying task being a DC fan these days. It's a lot of you think being a DC fan is hard? Try being a Wonder Woman fan.
Try being a gaming fan. That's hard.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly the last couple of years. Am I right, brother? It's been quite the
roller coaster. It's been quite the roller coaster from GTA 5 saying they're saying coming out in 2025.
GTA 6, you mean? Because I'm like, wait. GTA 5 is out. I played it.
Sorry, I mean GTA 6. Yeah. So I'm having a moment.
We all have moments, dude. It's all good. It's all good. But so what other questions do you guys have up there?
Well, I do have a question, Jared.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is, what movies besides comic book movies are you excited for?
Jurassic World, because I love the Jurassic Park franchise, and I'm actually very excited for the new one because it's supposed to go a little bit more into like the mutation part of the book, because for those that don't know, in the book that this is based on, they went into a lot more of like what the company was doing, and dinosaur hybrids was one of the things. So I'm interested to see what they draw from with that. And then in terms of what other movies I'm excited besides comic book movies, okay, that's a good one. I would have to say, what else? Oh, by the way, real quick, I just want to give a shout. Congrats to Nick from the Phoenix Press for becoming monetized on YouTube. He did it. So just wanted to drop a little love to him.
Okay.
By the way, Blazing asked a good question, and then I'll get to you, Tevia. But Blazing, do you guys think that with the dire situation that WB Games is in, they will license DC games to third-party developers? That is an option. That is 100% an option, I think, and that's honestly a smart option, Blazing, because it could be that they want to like say maybe the studios under us maybe aren't up to the task yet, or maybe they're like stretched too thin doing other projects. So if they want to do a DC project, maybe they try giving it to another studio.
Doing what Marvel is doing, basically.
Yeah, exactly. That is 100% a very viable option, Blazing. I would have to say that. Tevia asks, speaking of games, what games are you excited coming out this year? What games are coming out this
Marvel 1943. Rise
year?
of
Yes,
Hydra.
that I want. Is that coming out on Xbox?
I don't know. We don't.
I have
there's
to
no-
look. Hang on. I'm gonna look. Marvel 1943 Xbox. I want to see. Is it coming out on Xbox? Yes, it is. Yes, I'm so gonna play that. Hell yeah!
There
I
is
am
one.
so gonna. I'm gonna play the crap out of that. It's a Captain America game.
What else is there?
Is it co-op? If it is, we could play it.
I don't know what else is there.
Max says, after Gun Superboy flops, do you think WB will license the film? Honestly, this is what I'm going to say to that, Mac. Let's assume Superman flops. Let's assume that. Let's go with the scenario Mac is presenting. If that happens, that is a very viable thing I could see them doing, because this would be the second time that they will have failed to do a cinematic universe, and WB is already hemorrhaging cash. So really what I think is eventually I could see them not even licensing out the films, Mac. I could see them selling the DC IP. That's what I could see to Universal, and then we can get a DC theme park. Eh? And then I am going, and I will vlog it. Blazing asked, do you think there's third party?
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Well, let me put it this way: given the opportunity, what studio would not want to make a DC game?
If they can
Sony-
afford the licensing fee, they do it.
Yeah,
Sony's
100%.
Sony Santa Monica had Cory Barlog pitched
If
an idea.
Sony Santa Monica made a Wonder Woman game in the style of God of War, that would make me buy a PlayStation.
You'd buy a PlayStation just for that alone.
Yes.
Guys, clip that and send that to me.
Yes.
So I can make that into a.
Yes.
Make that into a
I will 100% buy it, because I know it's going to be a quality game. If they make it in the same quality as God of War and it's written by the same, if Cory Barlog is involved in that, I'm like, yes, 100. Take my money. Take my money. I'm down. Let's do this. 100. After watching the story for God of War, because again, I haven't played the games, but I've watched the story. Yes.
I remember back in the day, right? Cory Barlog actually pitched. Cory Barlog pitched a Superman game.
Oh, that would have been so good. See, the thing about Cory Barlog that I like in Sony Santa Monica Studio, they get spectacle. Because if you notice, when like Kratos is like fighting gods, it looks like superheroes. So yeah, 100% they could do that. By Blazing asked, do you guys think WB games could be sold off with how dire the situation is, or do you think WB games, WB Discovery will keep pushing and trying to keep the company together intact?
It's 50-50.
Half and half on that. Yeah, that's a great question, Blazing. I don't know. Let me put it this way. Anything is on the table with this company because they are monetarily like desperate. But I'm not sure if they're willing to like sell off the gaming division yet. Tevia asked, we are getting a new Doom game. Yeah, Dark Age. That looks great. Particularly, so Taladia, you'll love this. Do you know what they listed as prime like inspiration in the Doom game? 300 and Batman Year One.
Okay.
And I'm like, you had me at Batman Year One, but when you said 300, I was like, I'm definitely in. Square Enix Tomb Raider Wonder Woman adventure game where she and Julia Capitelis go on expert. Yes. By the way, Mac, you get a my man for bringing up Julia Capitelis. So, brother, this is for you. Would an Injustice 3 make them the money they're looking for? Probably not. And second off, Cameron, I may be in the minority in this. I don't want any more Injustice content. Because
it's
sucks.
Okay. Me and Jared are indifferent about that. Okay. Jared doesn't like it. I like Injustice. So
I like the gameplay. I hate the story.
I like the gameplay too.
Wait, which one we're talking about?
Injustice.
Injustice.
Oh God, the story. Injustice 2. Wait, we're talking just about Injustice 2 or the entire storyline?
Entire storyline.
Okay, not the first.
Here's the problem. When you look at narrative threads in that storyline, it has more threads. Sewn sweater.
The first one is good largely because of the contrast between Prime and Regime.
And then you get to the main one, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Wonder Woman corrupted," and I'm like, "What the hell?" By Enzio said, "Should DC do more mangas?" Yes, I do think they should, because A, those are fun, and B, it gets more people reading the characters. And Batman Justice, but also like Chip Zdarsky's failsafe, but better. All right, so JHeat, how do you feel about the fact that Zdarsky's Batman's over?
Thank God.
By the way, so Taladia, just so you know who we're talking about, Zdarsky's the one who created failsafe and wrote the issue where Batman fell from space. Literal space, through the atmosphere, landed in the regular Batsuit, landed in the Fortress of Solitude, and just got up and walked.
Okay.
Batman, Bruce Wayne. Oh, by the way, he was floating in space for like a minute without a suit, just the Batsuit. And he covered his mouth with the cloth from his cape. And yes, Cameron, he's off. So, and this actually goes with a comic book like rumor that I heard, is that after the Hush 2, tis but a flesh wound. Yes, Mac. From what I heard, the rumor is they're going to restart Superman and Batman with a new number one. Not like necessarily reboot them, but like redo the numbering at number one. What this means is that they could also do that for Wonder Woman, in which case, bye-bye, Tom King. Right. Well, Jason Less, the WB Games pipeline and another one isn't on it, so I guess it isn't coming until probably, I would imagine so, for Injustice 3. If they make Injustice 3, focus on the Prime Universe and let the regime cares time. But here's the thing, Mac, they can't do that because Injustice is about the regime. Now, if they want to do it, here's what they should have done. This is what I was expecting them to do with 3, and would have given them a solid story. Can you imagine if Superman repented in 2 and became a good guy again? That would have been great. That's the only time I would accept an Injustice 3 if they went with that storyline.
But they put so much effort in giving. You already had the bait and switch in Injustice 2. By the way, I just finished my Injustice 2 playlist on the channel, by the way, so cheap plug on that. But I genuinely felt like Superman was actually going somewhere, but no, we get the status quo again. I know
it all degrades into that one last part, because they even say the last chapter before the finale is called World's Finest. So I'm like, oh, you actually gonna have them be friends again? No, and I'm like, what the hell?
If they did not default to the whole Batman Superman for the ending, Injustice 2 would be remembered a lot more fondly as a duel.
Oh, I would have said, "Oh my gosh, this is great," because they even say that like when Superman looks at the Justice League table. The other part that I hate about 2 is that they retconned in that Wonder Woman corrupted Superman. She was the real villain of Injustice, and I'm like, what the hell, guys? And when you read the comic that's supposed to give you the origin for Injustice 1, because I did that. Actually, that was the first comic story in video I ever watched. R.I.P. Benny. But so the story is, I'm going to tell you the story, okay, JHeat, and I'm going to tell you the holes in it, all right? All right, the story is Steve Trevor crash lands on the island, obviously. It's and then he says, we need you to come with us and fight the German soldiers. I say that because I don't know if I can say it on YouTube and not get demonetized. But so she goes there. It's basically the Wonder Woman movie. And then they discover that there's like this piece of intelligence they need. But interrogation isn't working. So they have to go back to Themyscira to get the lasso of truth. Because for some reason, Wonder Woman didn't take it with her when they left the island. But Here's where it gets really stupid. Steve Trevor was a German spy the entire time, and he shoots an Amazon and kills her. So Wonder Woman wraps the lasso around his neck and strangles him. You would think, Jared, you always say Steve Trevor should die. Why are you so pissed off about this? They use that to explain why Wonder Woman's so brutal. The problem is Wonder Woman goes on to serve with the JSA and JLA, literally, in her own words, the best men she's ever known. So you're telling me that Wonder Woman was so petty that she remained evil because one guy betrayed her when she served with Superman? At the time, what wasn't evil? How does that work? That's the problem with Injustice. If you take one narrative plot thread and pull on it, the entire sweater comes apart.
Now, for that one specifically, that was just a one shot for the sake of, for synergy and marketing for the game. And having a concept with Steve Trevor being a German spy, because I know we don't want to get demonetized, that's too intriguing of a plot line, especially for an Elseworld story to be contained in a one shot. It just can't be done in a satisfactory way.
If that whole thing is your justification for why she's so brutal, again, it doesn't work. And
at least
it just doesn't. Plus, here's the other thing. When you look at Injustice 1 comics to Injustice 2, Injustice 2, well, in general, Wonder Woman is much more brutal. Injustice 1, yeah, she's kind of a little bit on like the evil side, but it's nowhere near as bad as all of a sudden she's on in Injustice 2.
Because in the tie-in comics, you had the Metahuman Civil War, the Justice League breaking apart. And although you could argue Diana was corrupting Clark over the course of the war and the factions over time in the Injustice storyline, it was gradual for both parties. Diana didn't even realize she was doing it.
Well, plus, even with that, she called him out when he was wearing a yellow lantern ring. So I'm like, well, what are you talking about? So the story doesn't flow from one creative to the other.
To the next.
Yeah, it doesn't flow well. By Blazing says, I am a huge DC fan. I'm excited for the DC thing. I wish that the games were kicking ass. When the DC fan creed, you either have great movies or great games. Not puts. Isn't that the way it kind of is?
It's true, Blaze.
The sad part, Blaze, is that's so true. You can only have good games or good movies. You can't have both. That's actually a fantastic way of looking at it. Wow. Yeah, that's great. Diana was justified in guiding Injustice Harley, who nuked Metropolis and killed millions of people. That's the other thing. Harley assisted in nuking Metropolis, and Batman works with her? What? Question. If they pulled a Mortal Kombat 1 story, but with Injustice 3, would it work? What do you mean? I haven't played Mortal Kombat 1. I don't know how that works. You mean rebooted it and just went with Injustice? Again, if they decanonized everything, in other words, said nothing from even the original canon to this, and they did like new stuff, yeah, I could see that working. However, I don't see I don't see them being smart enough to do that. What do you guys think? I'll start with Talati on this.
It's going to be difficult for them to reboot, the Injustice universe, because there's two separate endings, and it's like,
yeah, that's true. Which ending do you go with then?
Yeah, so it's really difficult to say.
You can't go with the Batman or Circle of Trust ending because of Kevin Conroy's passing, and even then, you'll just have to create a new crisis, and then best case scenario, it all comes to a head with Barry flashpointing everything. That would be the more straightforward approach. Whereas with the Brainiac Superman ending or Absolute Power, that's just what the Superman ending chapter is called, not any real pun outside of that. You have the Masters of the Universe crossover. It doesn't lead to a reboot. It just leads to Superman being defeated. And although there is a story there, I don't think DC would go out of their way to get, if they don't already own it, pay a licensing fee for the Masters of the Universe when they barely played a role in the original crossover.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And by Blazing summarizes my feelings on Injustice. He doesn't like the story, but he plays it for the gameplay and playing as DC characters. Yeah, that's why I do it.
That's
That's
fair.
why I do it. That's why Wonder Woman is like my number one character in the game. So that's just me. That's
Even
the
with
one.
the battle intros?
What?
Even with the battle intros?
I do like to see. That's the part I like about Injustice 2 is that the battle on the characters. I do like that, and they do sometimes make DC references. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll appreciate that. But I think that's a good place to leave it. So JHeat, where can we find you, and what have you got coming out on your channel?
As for me, you can find me at JHeat Blaze or JHeat75 on Twitter or X. Also, like I previously plugged earlier, I just finished my Injustice 3 playthrough. I should on Twitch. I should have that posted on YouTube within the next day or so. Also, I started Dragon Age again, and I'm already starting a playthrough on Andromeda. I actually have a few parts uploaded already with Andromeda. And hopefully before the end of this month, I'll actually do a full retrospective on my replay through and experience with the original trilogy, especially with the current and my reaction to the BioWare news after the failing of Dragon Age Veilguard. Will I play Veilguard, or will I just leave it alone after the original trilogy with Inquisition? Time will tell. But something tells me I'm going to enjoy Andromeda a lot better than Veilguard. Something tells me.
Oh, yeah. Something tells you about that. How about you, Taladia?
Okay, you guys can check me out on YouTube at Taladia Plays. What I've got coming up on my channel is I'll be doing a video in regards to all the news that we just talked about. DC gaming, what I personally think separately to these guys, and then I'll also be doing Into the Multiverse of DC Comics podcast, episode 3. We'll be having a discussion with Jared, and obviously I want to talk about the future of it and where we would like to see the future go as well. Like besides the Batman side of it, like I want to have like what would be the possibilities, what could be the possibilities. So we'll have a discussion on that.
As for me, Britt and I will be going live tomorrow for a live episode of Super Wonder Legacy, where we talk about our favorite African-American superheroes. And for Wonder Woman Wednesday, I'm going to be discussing why Wonder Woman does not need a love interest. And as for movie night, we're going to be talking about the next, it's called a Next Avengers Hero of Tomorrow, aka technically the third movie of the trilogy of like Ultimate Avengers movies, because it's technically in continuity with it loosely, but technically it's still there. And let's see what else. And I think that's it for right now. Oh, by the way, next Thursday's UTC will be a special birthday celebration because it will be on my birthday. So there you go with that. I'm getting old. But so we'll be doing that, and hope to see you guys there for that. So on that note, everyone, stay heroic. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane, and Steve Trevor, Steve Never. She belongs with General Zod. He belongs 6 feet in the ground. Zois and Max about for life. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.